All right, guys, so we are live now. Let me get, I think I'm looking at the wrong thing here. 1 second. Stand by. I went live a little early on that, and for some reason, it is not wanting to show my entire screen. And it should be good. You can see the charting part of it at least, so we'll be okay. All right, so let's talk about this, guys. So first off, I want to go through our day yesterday, kind of our thoughts. You can see this is where the market had opened. Remember when I was just saying one of my favorite one is the gap fill sniper. So you can see the gap fill sniper here. This is what draws these white and purple boxes. So you can see we did get a push north. We did get this gap fill sniper pop a white here, right? Which played out perfectly. It did come back for it. But primarily what we were looking at when we were trading is, as we started to push more northern up, right, there was a lot of resistance and a kind of a trend line almost that we were following this way. And so when we saw that it was rejecting on all of these wicks, right? So you had a lot of long wicks, you had some dojis. Every time the bulls pushed up, the bears pushed down. Bulls pushed up, the bears pushed down. We had our bearish candle here. It just continued to set it up. We got our first bearish divergence call, and that's when I knew we were coming down. So we had marked this line here. Once this line ended up flipping here, then I ended up entering my short somewhere around in this area here. And you can see, that played out well on all that indicators, right? So it played out. So this was the fall that we caught in the trade. I had to leave at that point. This was around 11 a.m. Because we're working on our automated trading for the options side of it, which is going to be sick, guys. All the back testing so far that we've done is just going to be sick. So we are still working on that, right? So as we come through, you can see it just continued the bleed down. Those of you guys that traded with me yesterday, you guys know that I said, if you guys want to continue to scalp these puts, that's fine, that we were going to come down to this white line. This white line was kind of a derivative of this right here, right? So we have a bottom, 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 bottom. It just keeps hitting it, right? And so that's where we were playing it off of. Now, with that said, right, what we want to look at now, I'm going to go back to extended hours to show the full pattern. I want to go to the 1 hour chart and just kind of show you what I'm looking at. So there's a few things we got to be really careful of. So if you zoom out, in the grand scheme of things, we had called a potential head and shoulder here. We did break the neckline. It didn't pass the retest, but it did end up collapsing lower, right, for that lower highs. And so here's again where it retested the neckline. It failed. It had another retest. It failed. So it's kind of in a unique position, guys, because although we are below this pattern and we should theoretically see further gap fill, right, to come down as low as maybe 26. The only thing that I'm a little bit hesitant on us going there directly is because we have this falling wedge. So now not only do we have a falling wedge, but we have the bullish divergence to support it. And so as you guys know, I mean, if you're in a rising wedge, you need that bearish divergence to support it. So we do have a falling wedge and we do have that bullish divergence supporting it, right? And so we are not by much, but we are getting some higher lows. And so that could lead us to have one more break north. It may not go real high, but I would suspect, if you were to get a breakout here, it would probably come up to at least retest the high. I would see it would be around 436 or so before it would reject down. I don't even know if it would quite make that, if I'm being honest, because I think overall we still need to gap fill. I would probably take like this right here, and I would take it along the top like this. And I would not be surprised if we don't see a break north like this, hit 435 and start to reject on this kind of soft trend line, and then have it just completely collapse, right? It's going to be heavily dependent on news. We have news at 8:30 this morning, which should be out already. We have news at 10 a.m. this morning. We have Powell talking, I think tomorrow. So there's a lot of news, right? I mean, the best of TA is when you have a bearish scenario and you have a bullish scenario, the news is going to be what's going to push that. Me, like I put out in the room, we're going to trade just strictly on the indicators, strictly on the rules. We also have buy and sell signals. Let me see. I was going to show you guys, but I have this over here. You guys in the room, I showed you. We created the buy-sell signals for SPY that has a 98.8% win rate for the last 30 days and with only one stop loss. And so yesterday that buy-sell signal threw out 2 of them. Both were winners, which is awesome. And so just the indicators, the buy-sell signals, everything's doing extremely well. Keep in mind, guys, what I'm showing, what we do in our room is mostly scalping, but you can change time frames. You don't have to necessarily just do it on the 2-minute or 5-minute, right? You can go up higher time frames. The one thing I want to be cautious of for you all though is today's close is massive, and let me explain why. As you guys know, if you zoom out to this 1 hour, I'm a huge advocate of gap fill. And if you look, 383 was our low back here on the 1 hour. We have not filled the gap. This is not a gap fill. This right here is just a, kind of a consolidation. Normally I would call it distribution, but we ended up pumping up, right? So they just kind of came in, accumulated some more, and then pumped up. So we still have not gap filled, right? So we still have to at least come back for a retest at some point in this area here. For what I would look at is, as far as some type of support, would it be at least take something like this, right? And so a pullback down into this range around 420 would not surprise me. Not only does it hit these marks here, but it also hits the level of what is prior resistance, right? So you have resistance around 418, 419 there, around 420 there. And when you're bullish, like we're technically in a bull market on it, you have to have those healthy pullbacks to test prior resistance as support. Once that becomes evident, that's when you get that explosion. So we could see a pullback, as low as 420, and then a push up back to as high as 440, right, to retest this before the absolute crash down, right? Keep in mind also, like I said, on the 1 hour we have a lot of bullish divergence, and it's pretty accurate. When you get this low, right, and you get those bullish divergence, right, you can see that we do get those pushes north. So there's definitely some strength coming back into it. So I would just be really careful. I'm not only taking puts right now. I am doing puts and calls because I am doing based on the indicators as well as the buy-sell signals. So if you guys want to learn, we trade every single day. It's kind of an open mic, open floor. People come in, you have questions, you want me to look at something, we look at it. If you want me to teach you something, I'll teach you. As long as people have questions and y'all are asking questions, I'll stay in that room as late as I need, right? And we don't charge you for that. You guys can come in for free on all that. In our community, we charge for the products. We create our own indicators. We have our own automated trading. We have our own buy-sell signals, all that. So, but yeah, so if we're trading options today, guys, just watch the falling wedge for that potential break north. You can already see it's starting to come up to retest it. If we break this white line, it's likely to push up, I'd say at least to 435. So just be real careful. Do not chase the wicks up. If you miss the train because the market hasn't opened, wait for that pullback, right? Ride the pullback back down. You chase the train and options, you're bound to get ran over. So, but that's kind of where we're at with the SPY. On the VIX, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the VIX, but guys, if you look at the VIX, we're just ranging. The VIX has been kind of annoying, but if you look at the daily, I still believe that we have a big push up that is very, very needed on the VIX, because if you look even in the history on the daily, right, there's not a huge span between each one before there's at least a nice push up, right, to somewhere between the 17, 18 range. And we've been hanging out, between 12 and 14 for some time, right? So we're due for a little bit of a push up. You know, you got the EMAs coming down here, so we might see one push up, which could cause that pullback. Remember, the VIX is inverse, so you know, if you look here, even on the gap fill indicator, it's now calling on the daily bullish, right? So we definitely need a little bit of a relief upward on the VIX, and the zone tracker is just holding this support really strong. So let's take a look at the dollar. The dollar's just been, I mean, let's be honest, if you go to the 1 hour, it's really just been kind of ranging. So in this area here, so we had our pump up that we called, we had our rejection we called, we came down. I still thought we were going to come down and hit this white line. We haven't quite made it. We keep finding support a little bit higher. You can see right here, it caused this pump up as it found support really close to there, but it was still a lower low. We did create a higher high here though, so if we hold a higher low here, somewhere in this range, and that comes up and presses on this trend line, then that's going to explode us back for a retest up to 104, which also validates what could be that gap fill pullback. So, but keep in mind, you know, we still could come to see that touch down here before we come up to see that squeeze. So just, you know, play the range, play the indicators. Apple, I'm going to touch just briefly on. This thing has just been a beast. It is chasing these all-time highs. I will just tell you, if you're buying up here, not to be super blunt, but you're kind of an idiot. You're gambling, you're chasing money. I was telling people in the room that we were likely to reject here because if you just take a simple trend line like this, you should not be buying here. If I was going to buy on this at all, if I decided I think Apple's going to the moon and I believe in it, you would want to see a simple 2 trend line push like this. You'd want to see a break above, and then you want to see support like this bounce on the line. Then you can take your call like that. But unless that happens, and if you're that guy going, hey, can you do TA on Apple? I'm stuck in an entry of 188, you know, and all you're gonna get from me is congratulations, you managed to buy the peak. Can we go higher? Sure. I mean, you might still get out, right? Because you know, we had it here, we had it here. The only difference here is we found support at the same level here, which is going to be bullish temporarily. But if we create a lower low, right, and we come up and we'll likely attempt to create a lower high on that, and then that'll tell you that we're basically coming back to like 183. But for the time being, I mean, it's still, I would say, looking bullish. I don't think Apple's ready to, you know, really pull back. But if you go to the hourly, you know, we had that bearish divergence pop in, call on the indicator, so you can see that played out perfectly on that call. And then we'll take a look at the daily. I mean, it's so overbought, but it's been so overbought for like ever, right? So, well, whatever that means, right? So we could still see another attempt for a new all-time high before that crash. So I only went a little more deep into Apple because a lot of people asked for it. But if you take a look, Microsoft did not do quite as well, but Microsoft is kind of, you know, creating this little inverse head and shoulder, right, that it's trying to break. So if we do get a push north in the market, I would see Microsoft push up probably, you know, 333, 334. The only thing I would say on Microsoft is you do on the 5 minute have a little bit of bearish divergence. It's been calling. But on the 1 hour, you know, we just flipped green, right? Which typically when this flipped green, there's room to go north. So if you're thinking of entering a put, I would be patient and wait on Microsoft. I wouldn't do it right away. If anything, if you're in a call, you're probably in good shape. Looking briefly at Amazon, I know I don't usually do the TA on these, but I figured why not today. So Amazon's looking very double bottomish. You also have the bullish divergence to support it. Not from here, but you have this mini bullish divergence. Here, you know, it's not really bullish divergence, but you have a higher low here, and this is a lot higher than what this separation is, right? Which is just showing that there's some strength there. Now, it would need to hold support. It's got to hold support here. If it doesn't hold support here, it's going to be very bearish, right? But if you look at the pre-market, because the way we have the candles, it's not showing the aftermarket, you can see that it already did exactly what I was thinking on that, because we're up at 128, right? So it's right at the neckline. I'll bet you if we draw out, let's see how it looks on extending hours. Yeah, so it didn't get the double bottom, right? But you can see we have kind of this rising channel here. If anything, on the extended hours, we have a rising channel with something that's looking very double top-ish. So, um, as far as Amazon goes, it looks like to me it's continuing to find resistance on what was support. So I would need to flip 129 and hold it as support before I would take a call on that one. But the indicator did call long back here, right, which played out really well. So I got 846. Let's jump into the crypto because then we got to do the ATAs. So BTC, I put this out in the room. I did draw this little trend line down here. We did end up breaking that this morning. So I put an arrow up here. This is going to be a heavy resistance around 30,800 to watch for. We did get this bullish divergence call on our indicator, which played out really well. For those who caught that, congratulations. We are getting a little bit overbought, but we still have some room to go. My thinking is, depending on how the news goes, if you want to take a long on this, I would try to wait till you hold 30,800 as support. If you did not catch the long down here, then don't chase it, because this was known support down here, right? So this would have been a good long entry. You can see our gap fill even called that flip, right? And you had the bullish divergence. So everything here told you to get that long scalp in there. If you got it, congratulations if you're using those indicators. If you did not catch the long, you might want to hold off and just kind of either wait for support to hold here and then catch the ride back up to the 31.4 or so. If not, just kind of sit tight, wait for that bearish rejection. If we are going to reject off here and you want to take this short, I would wait for this candle to close in the next 12 minutes, and then the next hour or two, you're going to want to see a bearish candle come down, break this POC, even maybe engulf this this wick, below it, and then you're going to get this gap fill that's going to come down, which is around 30,390 or so. That would be your nice little short scalp setup. So the high that I put out in the room, I think, is we easily, if we hold support here with the news, we can easily see a push up to 31 again, 31.4 even today. I think that the low, we could call it as the support, of 30,000. I still think we're destined to come down and hit this 200 EMA at some point. I just don't know that it's going to be right away. We might see this push up a little bit here and then hit it around there. This is going to be massive. Watch this on the 1 hour, guys, because if we hold support here, this is going to squeeze it and it's going to push us way up again, right? However, if we break this, then we are beginning our descent on the gap fill, because remember, we've pump, no pullback, right? And if you look in, historically, whenever you pump, right, no pullback, you get that pullback. Same thing here, right? You pump, and then you get that gap fill. So we're in a larger one. If you take this to here and you go back, we have not had a run up like, I don't know, since like back here, right? Where we had it. So even in this range here, right, we had this massive run up, but we went from 26.4 all the way down to 23.9. So about $2,500 pullback. Before we continued back up. Even from here, we went from 28.8 all the way back to 26.5. So having those pullbacks are definitely going to be possible. And you can see, once you had your head and shoulder, we had that reversal, right? The lower high, lower low, which pulled us down before the next explosion. So could we go up higher? Sure. I think we're going to have possibly a little bit of a cool off come. But I would watch this 1 hour 200 EMA for sure. One last thing I just thought about, I did not show y'all because I've been waiting for this forever. If you look at the daily on the SPY, just to kind of retouch on this, we are having a break on the red. This is why I mentioned it and then I got sidetracked. Today's an important close on the market. If we close red right here, guys, I'm taking like a big 7 or 10 day, probably 10-day put just to give me some room. But historically, in our indicators, if you look at the last time we were on the red and we broke red right here, we fell from 421 all the way back to like 349 or 350. It was just huge. And then you come back here. This is again, if you look at right when we broke red, even in this red right here, it went from 466 all the way to 449. So it's a pretty big deal when that indicator breaks red like that. So I would be very cautious. I'm gonna tell you right now, if this closes red today, I will not be taking calls. I don't care if I miss pumps that I call. Like, I will wait, because the risk of how big that drop can be when it comes could be just huge. But it's heavily dependent on where this closes, right? Because we could end up flipping bullish today because of the news, and then now this is green, right? It's not confirmed until it's closed, so be patient. I don't have a bunch of time left, so I'm not going to touch deep on ETH. I'm just going to tell you, we did continue to hold this rejection. We found support on this red trend line I had around 1835. It pumped up. I did a little mini white trend line here, if you can see that. That is where I believe we need to break if we want to come back up for a retest. Otherwise, we're just going to pull back down. For the high today on ETH, I would say we could easily get up into 1910, maybe even a retest in 1935. My low would be a retest of this red line area, which is around 1830. So for Ethereum, but obviously very news pending. So let's jump into the ATA. This is the automated trader portion. I still need to adjust those, but we'll take a look. So this is Bitcoin. Let's see how our Bitcoin short has been doing. So we've taken some good shorts here along the way. We did get a short here. We are currently in a short with 1 DCA. It's just not far enough for me to add a second DCA quite yet. If I added a second DCA, I would probably put it pretty high up. So we could probably put it up into this range here. Let's go ahead and add it. We'll add it for about 31.2. That way we're not too aggressive, but we got it in there in case the market moves good with the news. So we'll try to get that line around 31.2. So let's see where that puts it. Okay, so we're way up here, like 31.8. So we don't want 6%. Let's try 4. Let's see where that puts it. All right, so that puts it at 31.275. So let's try 3.75. Just a little bit lower. 31.2. Okay, I'm good with that. So we'll do a second DCA there. Remember, anytime you make a change on it, we do have to delete this, and we do have to add the alert. Give me one moment. Let me pull this off my screen briefly while I add something. I have to I deleted out the webhook as I was trading on my own account on it, so I took the webhook out, so I gotta just put that back in. For the copy trade, y'all don't get to see that. Okay, so we're gonna name it ATA KuCoin BTC short. All right, so let's put that back up. Okay, so we got our second DCA in there. You can see here, this is the settings we're running. If you're following along, 3.75 is what we did. So we're set on Bitcoin. Other than that, we're not in bad shape. So I have no concerns if you're following along. KuCoin. Let's take a look at Ethereum. This is my to-do list, guys. We're running BTC short, ETH short, LTC short, Matic long, Sol long. So ETH short, I'm not going to even add a second DCA, guys, because like we're literally at the entry. Like our entry is 1877, so I'm not even going to bother. But so far so good. I mean, you can see even in this uptrend, it's doing really well. I mean, look at this perfect execution on a DCA. So far, perfect execution DCA. Same thing here. I mean, you can see it caught a really nice short right here. This was, it looks like yesterday around 1, so that's awesome. It's just doing really well. So I'm not going to touch ETH. If you're following along and you're not doing copy trade, this is the settings that I'm running right here. So we're not going to touch it. The next one I'm running is LTC. So LTC, we are running short. You know, it's funny. I was thinking it was going to be caught. Every time when these load, I always look at it and go, man, I'm running short. We might be caught, right? But the indicator impresses me, man. Look at these DCA points. It literally on an uptrend got out, bam, right? Shorted it, and then it's in a short now, but we have not even DCA'd one. It's like right at the line. Yeah, see, it's actually thinking about DCAing right now. And that's going to move the entry up really close, right? So I'm okay with that. So yeah, so LTC is trucking along really, really well. Lots of shorts. The red is the shorts. The orange here is the close. So, but you can see it's about to execute a DCA right now. You can see it working real time. So I'm not going to touch LTC again. We're just going to continue to ride these shorts. Remember with KuCoin, we can only go one direction. So we do have some longs just to kind of counter the pump if we do get a little bit of a push up. I have chosen to run Matic because Matic was low in the range. So let's see how that one plays out. So far, so good. Actually, it's not in a trade right now. It looks like it just closed the trade, but so far, so good. It's running up, running north, looking good. So, and like I said, you know, ignore the status bar there. Because of KuCoin change, we have to adjust that. Actually, we've already fixed the code. I just have to add the new indicator that shows the actual profit on that. But focus more on the trades here. So it's just some really good execution on these. We're currently not in a Matic, but I'm going to let that run. I'm not running more than one DCA, so we got room to play, right? So we'll let it play. Last one, we have Sol. We're running Sol along. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. I gotta clear up my my layouts there because I got some of the older BitGet ones. Which, by the way, if you are able to run BitGet, we have corrected that code. I'm expecting probably, hopefully, as soon as tomorrow's huddle to reactivate the copy trade portion for BitGet. So if you are on BitGet or you're continuing to trade BitGet, if you want to follow along with the copy trade, just ensure that you have that activated and ready to roll. So I will have to start fresh because the indicators did get reset. I don't have the idea of where the entries are. Most people you know, who had to pull their money out of that. So if you have an existing trade that you're managing, you won't be able to copy trade that one. You'll have to do other pairs. But Sol so far is doing really well. We started it here. It was, look how well this did this. We started it on this yellow. It let it fall all the way down before it took a buy, which played out perfectly, so we didn't get caught. We have a little bit of a rising channel, but that's okay. So far it's done really well playing these ranges. We just barely started this yesterday, so I'm going to let it continue. I mean, you can see it almost hit profit right here, and we'll let it roll. So that's pretty much all I got on that. I don't think, you know, the only one that I would consider maybe adding also would be Aave. We can take a look at Aave. Let's do, I've been just creating new layouts with these, so let's just do the same thing. Aave, KuCoin. Let's take a look at Aave. I don't know that I would run Doge or XRP right now, but we do have Aave just kind of lingering out there. So let's see where it's at in the range. Depending where it's in the range will depend if I want to run it or not, because I don't know that I want to run equal or heavy long right now. So we have Aave there. Let's change this to Aave. And you can kind of see how the long's doing. Let's look at the 1 hour and see where we're at in the range. I mean, we're like right in the middle, guys. I mean, we literally could fall back to 49, or we could pump all the way to 84. Let's see. I think I'm going to hold off on Aave, guys, because I really want to see if the news in the next 2 days sends us north or sends us south. If it sends us south, we're going to go long only. If it sends us north, we're going to take that short and ride that all the way back down. So, well, let's sit tight on Aave. I don't know that I'm quite ready to do that. If I was on, you know, for the BitGet one, we would do a long or short, a long and short, because we're right in the middle. But when you're choosing one directional, you want to, when you're right in the middle like that, it's such a gamble. So, but that's the ATA, guys. If you're on TikTok and you're really confused, that is our automated trading. We do copy trading. on KuCoin now, as well as BitGet if you're not in the US. So let me shrink this up. I got a little overexpanded there. But that's all I got in the community. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop the video here. We'll see you in the trading room in about 10-15 minutes. And it's going to be an amazing day trading, I think. Looking forward to it. If you guys want to come trade with us, you guys can do so. And we'll see you soon. TikTok, I'll answer some questions here shortly.